Welcome back. Joining me now is best-selling author Douglas Murray. Douglas, it's been a good week for vulnerable gender-confused children in the UK, with the NHS banning puberty blockers for minors, and it's been a good week, I've got to say, also for all the courageous souls from both the left and the right of the political spectrum who fought at considerable personal cost against these gender-affirming care models. That's got a pretty sounding name, but these policies have been proven over and over again to be harmful.
That's absolutely right, Rita. I've said to you before, one of my rules is assume that because everybody and every age in the past did things that we are just amazed and horrified by, don't just look at what those things were in the past, but look at the things that we might be doing today that people who come after us will look at with equal bafflement and horror. And I've said for years that one such thing is likely to be the medicalization. One thing that our own successors will look at us with just bafflement over was that people going through childhood in our societies, in our highly developed, very, very liberal democratic societies, children going through ordinary childhood experiences of problems with their bodies, worries about their bodies, worries about their future, were being medicalized. And secondly, that they were being medicalized with consequences they were not informed about. And in some cases, because the doctors knew and didn't think it was helpful to tell them, and in other cases, because the medical literature just wasn't there yet. In other words, our societies were experimenting on children with no knowledge of what would happen. Well, in recent years, we have learned from proper medical studies some of the things that can happen. You mentioned the niceness of the sounding of some of these things. It's all gender affirmation or puberty blockers, as if you just block puberty. No, the puberty blockers that many people, many children were given have made them infertile for life. In other words, they made some kind of uninformed, half-informed child decision. We don't allow children to choose to smoke or to drink alcohol or to get a tattoo, but they were allowed and sometimes encouraged to go on a pathway which had irreversible changes on their entire life. And so, yes, as you say, maybe it is a moment when sanity has returned.
Well, it's returned in the UK, but we've been saying on this program for some time, Douglas, Australia is fast becoming an outlier. We're blindly following this gender-affirming model without any thorough investigation of the many harms identified in the UK. It's really a question, I think, here of political courage. And sadly, our supposedly conservative politicians in this country lack the backbone to push back against this ideology.
Well, whatever the causes are, we just have to look at the facts. You know, when I first wrote about this some years ago, I just decided to do it by going in and looking at the facts. What were the papers that existed? What were the studies that existed? One of the things that alarmed me very early on, as it alarmed a lot of people, principally, it has to be said, women of left and right who picked up this issue far more, I think, than some of their male counterparts, and who deserve enormous credit and who walked through unbelievable opprobrium and insult for just doing basic things like looking at the facts. One of the things I was startled by always was that some of these procedures, some of these drugs were being administered when there was almost no knowledge about the consequences, that there were so few studies, that there was so little literature, so little information, and yet that our societies have fallen into this place where we sort of just done something I think will be looked at, as I say, as very, very wrong. That we did it out of kindness. We did it out of a sort of let's all live together, let's all be kind, let's all be nice. But sometimes it requires so-called niceness to do a very wicked thing. And I think that's likely to be the case in this whole area. There was a book, there's just a book out by one of the forebears, one of the enablers of this whole movement, the unreadable American academic Judith Butler. She's written another book about gender, and a lot of the people who it's been torn apart by all the smarter reviewers like Sarah Dittam and various others. It's Kathleen Stock did a scorching review of it yesterday. But some of the sort of people who are still in the same movement as Judith Butler have actually said in their reviews, yes, this is going to be hard. Yes, we're going to have to push through. But yes, we have to medicalize all the children if that's what they want, because it's better than the alternative. In actual fact, the studies we have about alternatives, the studies we have about, always people have been saying things like suicide rates of minors if they're not allowed to transition. The studies we have on these sorts of things suggest that not only do suicide rates stay the same, but they actually increase after so-called attempts at transitioning. This has been a profound challenge, not just to the morality, but to the decency of our societies. And we should have approached it with care and with love, but also with our eyes open and an eye on the facts. And because of the care and love bit, a lot of people, including people in positions of extreme power, turned away from the facts, and they will have to live with that.